VO2 Max, your cardio fitness, is probably the most important physical health marker.
Let's talk about some of the benefits of REHIT training.
In 8 weeks, studies have shown a 62% risk reduction for the risk of developing metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes.
But sometimes you feel like you have to go out there and do 45 minutes of cardio. That alone can keep you from going on that treadmill or going for that run.
And a shockingly large number of people, 95% of Americans, don't exercise enough. And the number one reason is lack of time.
Frequency takes time, right? You want to learn something, you could repeat it over and over again. Duration, you could study it longer. But intensity, if you make something so intense, you don't have to do it, and you can save all that time. That's how we do our memory training. So this is very, very, very much aligned. What I also know is an elevation of mood.
And that plays a direct role in the production of serotonin, norepinephrine, and these neurotransmitters that are responsible for alertness, for focus, executive function, for mood.
Which could accelerate your learning. Today's episode is incredibly important, and so I encourage you to pay full attention to what we're about to talk about. It changed my life in so many ways, right? When you change your brain, you change your life. And we're going to talk about one of the smartest workouts. How can you get twice the benefits in 90% less time? You know, this is all about quick learning, quick brain. It's about being smarter, faster, and better. And while your time is limited, we talk about becoming limitless, leverage is really limitless. And I'm always obsessed with finding those levers, those products, the people, the processes, where you get a force multiplier. You put a certain amount of input, you get multiple outputs. And right now we are someplace we've never filmed before. So this is very special. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see all the biohacking and restorative things here, the float tank, the sauna, the plunges. I call this limitless labs. This is where I recover, but this is also where you'll see here, if you're watching this on video, this amazing piece of technology. This bike that completely changed my life and that of our teams also as well. And so this is, I believe, one of the smartest workouts. It's the best use of your time. And we're going to talk about whether you purchase this product, and I want to be upfront. I only talk about things that I use, and I've used this for years, that you'll get benefit regardless. So I'm here with my friend, Ulrich, and I'm so excited. He's the CEO of Carol Bike and has a background in mechanical engineering, and he heads product design. And we're going to talk about REHIT, an amazing way to just a few minutes get tremendous results, not only for your body, but for your brain. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your home.
Yeah, this is going to be very special. So most of the people watching right now, they have a passion for health. They have a passion for performance and obviously learning. But they're also very busy. And that's the thing. It's like, for me, for example, I speak for a living, so I could be on 3 continents in a week. We have an educational company. We have this podcast. I have my next book deadline, which I'm excited. We run a nutrition, brain supplement company. So time is very valuable. Plus, I have a family and 2 children. Why don't we talk about what is REHIT? Most people know what HIT training is. What is REHIT, and what are some of the benefits?
Yeah, so you're right. REHIT is it's a new and improved form of HIT, high intensity interval training. It stands for reduced exertion, high intensity interval training, and it was really developed by scientists to find the minimum effective dose of exercise. So what is the most efficient, the quickest, the most accessible form of exercise? And this has been developed over many years. And we found it, or let's say our academic partners found it. And then what we did is take that wonderful, wonderful science and turn it into something that's easy and convenient for people to use in their home, in their gyms. And that's Carol Bike.
And so what are some of the benefits of REHIT training? In what form does it look like in someone's day? I mean, we've talked about in the podcast the benefits of exercise, which is probably one of the most studied ways of boosting brain power and brain performance. But let's talk about some of the benefits of REHIT training.
Yeah, sure. So one benefit is it's almost like a time machine. So REHIT is incredibly short as 5 minutes. And you only really work hard for 2 20-second sprints.
40 seconds.
40 seconds. 40 seconds hard work. The rest is a very gentle warm-up, recovery and cool down. So you work hard for 2 20 seconds. There you really push yourself to your limits. And by pushing to your limits, you expand them and you create a very, very powerful training stimulus. And then the benefits you reap from that, I mean, that's really a very long list of very profound physical health and fitness benefits and benefits for your brain. So very happy to dive into those and kind of go through some of the key things you can expect from REHIT.
In Limitless or on stages, I always talk about as your body moves, your brain grooves, right? We create something called BDNF.
Correct.
Which you're well studied on, brain-derived neurotropic factors, which is like fertilizer for neuroplasticity. So it really could accelerate your learning.
And it was really developed by scientists to find the minimum effective dose of exercise. So what is the most efficient, the quickest, the most accessible form of exercise? Memory formation. And the interesting thing and the relevant thing here is that short bouts of intense exercise create a much higher release of BDNF than moderate intensity exercise, low intensity exercise. So there's a 2023 study that has shown a 5 times greater release in BDNF after intense exercise, short bouts of intense exercise. So with that very short exercise, not only do you do something really good for your body, but also for your brain.
You know, in our memory training, we accelerate people's learning. In physics, you have these 3 variables. You have frequency, duration, and intensity. And so frequency takes time, right? You want to learn something, you could repeat it over and over again. Duration, you could study it longer. But intensity, if you make something so intense, you don't have to do it, and you can save all that time. That's how we do our memory training. So this is very, very, very much aligned. What are some of the other benefits that you see with your clients and customers?
The headline benefits is 1, cardiorespiratory fitness. So that's your VO2 max, your ability to burn oxygen, and you see profound improvements in VO2 max in cardiorespiratory fitness. Why does it matter? First, low cardiorespiratory fitness causes more avoidable deaths than smoking, diabetes, and obesity combined. So it's really very, very important. And now that sounds a little bit grim, but there's actually a positive message in there because VO2 max, your cardio fitness, is the most important, the strongest predictor for life expectancy. And it's also one that you have a lot of control over. So you can improve your VO2 max with very little time, very substantially, and so get really profound longevity benefits. And it is, in my view, and many others agree with that, probably the most important physical health marker. And with REHIT, so you do this a short workout, 5 minutes, 2 to 3 times per week, you get on average a 12% improvement within 8 weeks, and this continues.
Huge.
Yeah, because it is really if you think of other really important health markers like your weight, if you lost 12% of weight, that would be very profound. So it's a very, very noticeable and remarkable improvement. When I started doing this, and now I wasn't working out terribly much before I got to this, but but my VO2 max improved by 50%. And we see this in other users. So it really makes a big difference to your life, your quality of life, your energy. So that's one like really key benefit. And it's not just a physical benefit, because as you say, if your body moves, your brain grooves. Some of the reasons why your VO2 max improves are not just something that work in your muscles. As your mitochondrial function, your mitochondrial health improves. That's a systemic thing.
Which contributes to your energy and your vitality.
Exactly. And is also gives your brain more energy. So it's very profound. The other big topic is metabolic health, especially like in the US and in many Western countries. You have a almost epidemic of metabolic disease, with many people are not being metabolically healthy. And with a workout like REHIT, you can make dramatic risk reductions, also with very little time. So in 8 weeks, studies have shown a 62% risk reduction for the risk of developing metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes, with only 3 short workouts over an 8-week period. Now that's very profound. That's
three a week for 8 weeks.
Correct. So you do 3 a week for 8 weeks, and you see this very substantial risk reduction. That's on par with taking prescription medicine, just without the cost or the side effects. And again, there's a link to your brain and your mental health, because my understanding is these are complex matters, yeah. But if you're metabolically unhealthy, if you have diabetes, you're at much higher risk, or there's a greater observed risk of developing cognitive impairment and some of these like dementia, Alzheimer's. And we're not saying that this necessarily cures you or prevents something, but we observe it that if you're metabolically unhealthy, also your cognitive and your mental sharpness can suffer. And so in many ways, having optimal health and fitness physically just empowers your brain, your supercomputer, to also run at its full potential.
And we'll go into the methods, right? With the limitless model, we focus on 3 M's. Most people want to know exactly what to do, the methodology, but I also feel like this conversation is so important. We'll go through some of the exercises people could do with or without a Carol bike, but also they might have a limiting belief that this is, whether it's something works or not works, right? Because some people might be thinking right now, how is that even possible to spend 5 minutes, over the course of a few days to be able to get this tremendous, like if there was a pill that could give you all those benefits, everybody would be taking that pill, right? But also motivation, which is the reasons, because without reasons, we just won't get the results. People know what to do, but they don't do what they know, right? So let's go through some of more of those reasons. You have BDNF, you have VO2 Max, which is so important. What I also know is an elevation of mood, right? Yeah. Exercise, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins.
Yeah. Again, studies show that that intense exercise has their greater effect than low or moderate intense exercise. And again, these are complex biological processes, but one important factor is lactate. So these are like these 2 20-second sprints, they're anaerobic sprints. Mm-hmm. Your body produces a lot of lactate, which gets transported to the brain, and there plays a direct role in the production of serotonin, norepinephrine, and these neurotransmitters that are responsible for alertness, for focus, executive function, for mood.
Which could accelerate your learning. Because a lot of our listeners, they want to be able to learn faster. Yeah. And if they have greater alertness, then they have greater focus, which leads to better reading and remembering and studying.
Correct. And there are actually studies that tested the participants' ability to learn vocabulary. So this is a classical experiment. It was already published in 2007. and they found that vocabulary learning was 20% faster after intense exercise compared to post low intensity or rest. So you really do give your brain a boost, and if you can up your memory performance by 20%, that's very substantial.
It's amazing return on your investment of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what life really is made out of. I will put a link to the studies at the show notes, as we always do, at jimkwik.com/notes. And just as a reminder, this conversation is not meant to diagnose or treat any kind of medical conditions. Obviously, talk to your health practitioner. Mental health improves also, right?
There's a growing body of scientific evidence that shows that exercise is as effective or more effective, so that's the criteria they use, compared to
antidepressants,
psychotherapy or antidepressants or medication for people with anxiety and depression. And again, this is to do with things like serotonin, with things like norepinephrine. And I'm sure, again, the human body is complex. And I think to some extent, we see the inputs and the outputs, and we don't know exactly what happens on the inside. But the observation is that it's as effective or more effective than psychotherapy or medication for treatment of anxiety and depression. So that's very remarkable.
Okay, so people are watching this right now and they're wondering, they're sold, right? They're at least aware now that REHIT could give you so many of these benefits. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Carol bike because of the AI intelligence and how it's personalized around and can measure everything. In order to manage it, you have to be able to measure it. You know, the primary reason you have a brain is to control your movement. And as you move your body, it's not a one way. It's just not one way where your brain is affecting your body. Your body could affect your brain and all these, and there are all the other benefits, right? More of that cardio, you get more oxygen, you get more blood flow to your brain, more oxygen, because your brain is a real energy hog. It's only 2 or 3% of your body mass, but it requires 20% of the nutrients and the energy. So it's kind of an energy hog, which is why this exercise is so important. And there's so many other benefits that we could talk about. But what can people do as they're listening or they're watching this, the extended version on YouTube? What are some of the things people could do in terms of protocols?
None of the ingredients contained in the Kwik Mind product are claimed to treat any disease or health condition. Consult your own physician before commencing a nootropic regimen to ensure that this product is appropriate for you.
Do you struggle to stay focused or find that your mind wanders when you need to be sharp? Are you looking for an advantage or an edge that can eliminate sluggishness and elevate your cognitive performance? That's why after decades of research and development, I'm thrilled to bring you Kwik Mind. It's more than just a supplement. It's a key to unlocking your cognitive freedom on a day-to-day basis. Just imagine having the clarity of thought, sharp focus, better memory, and being calm under pressure. Every capsule of Kwik Mind is a blend of 5 pristine ingredients, each backed by research and chosen for its ability to support specific cognitive functions. So, are you ready to meet the sharpest version of yourself? It's just a click away. We have it all at kwikmind.com, kwikmind.com. Place your order for Kwik Mind today and join a community that's redefining what it means to live a life of mental abundance.
The Carol bike has been designed to replicate the workouts that scientists did in their lab to prove those benefits and to find that minimum effective dose. And it makes it highly personalized, very convenient, very safe, very quantified.
It's very motivating when you're watching the screen to be able to see
That's correct.
Everything, right? Yes. It's like so many people need the feedback right away. What are some physical exercise people could do, in their home or outside that would not get quite the results, but still they could start somewhere?
So let me first say what I wouldn't do. So it's really difficult on a conventional exercise bike. We tried that. When we came across the science of REHIT, the very first thing was we tried to do it on a normal bike because we just wanted to do it for ourselves, my co-founders and I. And it's just difficult. And I would go so far to say that it doesn't really work, because you need to apply your optimal resistance at the right time, very rapidly, and that's hard if it's not computer controlled, and if you don't have like AI algorithms that can do it for you. I also wouldn't try to do it on a treadmill, a rower, an elliptical, because I think the injury risk is a little bit too high. Like, my key recommendation would be hill sprints. Go for a gentle jog and then up the hill 20 seconds all out. Do that twice. I think that's a viable alternative. Also very low cost, of course, if you can do it. Even a flat sprint track, so really all out sprinting as part of like a gentle jog, I think could offer meaningful benefits and get relatively close to this. I guess many users will, or many listeners will ask themselves, well, if it's so good, why haven't I heard of it before? There are some very established belief systems out there about how cardio exercise needs to look. And that's difficult to overcome. But if we explain why 2 really very short all-out sprints can deliver all these incredible benefits, I think it might be easier to understand to leave that BS behind.
Right.
Yeah? And overcome those belief systems.
That's what BS stands for, belief systems.
Yes, that's a polite version. So it's obvious if you're confronted with something like that has such big promise that you're first asking, like, why is not everybody doing it?
Right.
It's relatively new, even though in the lab it has existed for over a decade now. So the methodology REHIT was established in 2012. Yeah, it's a quite different mode of activation, and the training stimulus comes about in a different way. When you do these really, really short all-out sprints, maximum intensity sprints, what happens is you simulate an emergency situation. You put your body into a position where it thinks it has to run for its life or fight for its life. The energy demand goes up by about a factor of 100 compared to rest. And that means your body has to tap into into the very fastest acting energy systems that it has available, and that it doesn't use in low intensity exercise, moderate intensity exercise. And what happens is, so you start these explosive sprints and you mobilize a tremendous amount of glycogen. So that's sugar stored in your muscle, and you mobilize about 25 to 30% of that emergency energy reserve. And bound to the glycogen are certain molecules that get released with it, that's AMP, and get activated to AMPK. And that triggers a cascade, a molecular biological cascade of signaling molecules. The most important is PGC1 alpha, which is your body's master regulator for mitochondrial biogenesis. So with a very, very short stimulus, you send a very powerful signal to your body that it has to get fitter and stronger, and send the biological signals that it has to grow more, larger, and more efficient mitochondria. And that's one way how you increase your VO2 max, because mitochondria are the parts in your cell that burn oxygen,
right,
and that create energy for your muscles, for your brain, for life. And that's just very different compared to normal exercise, because you don't have this particular stimulus. The mechanism is just radically different, and in fact so different that it's probably the only exercise where more is not better. So usually with most things, when it comes to workout, workouts. If you do more, you will see greater benefits. Not with REHIT. So if you do more or longer sprints, the science, the research shows you don't get more benefits, you get less benefits. And that's hard to explain. And again, complex biology. But the presumption is that if you know you have to do 6 sprints and they're like 30, 40 seconds or a minute long, you pace yourself. You don't go all out. You're kind of holding back and you go 90% because you think like, oh, I have to get through this somehow. And by pacing yourself, by not giving 100%, by not pushing towards your limits, you just don't trigger that particular adaptation pathway as forcefully as if you take very short sprints, 220 seconds, and just go all out. And that's really the secret. Like 220 seconds is short enough to just go to your limit. As soon as you start, the light at the end of the tunnel is already visible.
Yeah.
And the first 10 seconds I feel actually quite easy.
The last 5 seconds I'm not a huge fan of. But with the human body and the brain's part of the body, it's the ultimate adaptation machine, right? Yeah. With challenge comes change.
Exactly.
And what I like about, and to underscore what you said about injury, I remember I was traveling a few months ago, and I wanted to get my REHIT in, and the hotel had this hill, and I want to stay consistent. And I did it, and I twisted. I stepped on something, and I twisted my ankle, and then I was like kind of laid out for a couple of weeks, and that was a challenge. And I want to talk about the psychology a little bit, because often why people don't do something is this thing is too big, right? It's like, oh, like I ran back in high school. I still like to go for a weekend run, maybe do a 5K or a 10K, but I do it more for the experience. Yeah. Right, to be able to kind of calm my mind, to disconnect from my phone. But there's less mental friction. In Limitless, we talk about the power of small, simple steps. Yeah. Right, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's too hard. But sometimes you feel like you have to go out there and do 45 minutes of cardio. That alone can keep you from going on that treadmill or going for that run. But knowing you're going to do a workout and in 5 minutes you're done, or 220 built into that, the warm up and the cool down and the recovery is the 2 intense 20-second, sessions. It's so easy. So there's no excuse. It really reduces or eliminates the procrastination, the mental friction it takes to get yourself to start.
What really helps me is to remove barriers, like to make it as easy as possible for me to say yes. My setup at home is almost that the bike is on the way from the bed to the bathroom. And I've just set myself, okay, I do it every other day. The in-between day, I lift some weights. So that's, so between getting up and brushing my teeth, there's a short, like less than 10-minute session of exercise built in, and it's automated, almost like on autopilot. I don't have to question it. I don't have to negotiate with myself. It's just something I do. Because it's so short, it is really easy to fit into even a busy schedule. So yes, I think habit formation and removing barriers is really important. And by all means, please do try hill sprints. It's a great thing to do, or other forms of sprint training. But the Carol bike is just one way how, you can get all the motivation, the safety, the quantification, all that, and try to get as close as possible to really the scientific REHIT protocol.
That's outstanding. So kind of to sum up this conversation, the person listening right now might be thinking, I already work out. They go to the gym, and they can still continue to do that. Like I do my martial arts training, I do some weight work and those things, do a little bit of yoga. But for my cardio, when it comes to HIIT training or REHIT training, it's so very important, because again, I feel like the most powerful exercise you do is the best one is the one you will do. right? And you make it so simple.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily easy, that's pretty intense, but you know the light is right there. It's a few seconds away and then you're done. And from a motivational standpoint and knowing all the huge mental, physical benefits, it's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yes, we'd like to think so. And one thing it for sure does, it takes away the time constraint and that perception that we don't have time, whether we do really, or whether it's distraction or motivation, I don't know. But most people don't exercise, and a shockingly large number of people, 95% of Americans, don't exercise enough. And the number one reason is lack of time. And so REHIT does offer a very, very time efficient, very effective, and most definitely the most efficient way to do cardio workout.
I want to talk about the Carol Bike for a moment. You provided an incredible discount for our community. People could go to carolbike.com/kwik, that's KWIK, to see all the details. I was really impressed besides the generous discount, so thank you on behalf of the community. And I only talk about things that I personally use. Kwik Brain, Kwik Learning is always about giving you resources to be faster, smarter, better, and do it with more joy and vitality also as well. With that, you also have this incredible, I saw this on your website, 100-day guarantee. People could get their unit and they could use it for over 3 months. And that's so right. I could appreciate that, because you're basically saying that your success is their success.
Correct. And 100 days, 3 months, that is easily enough time to see whether you like it, whether you see the benefits, whether and they're really profound, so you'll feel it, and whether you can stick to it. Thankfully, most people absolutely say yes. But if for any reason it's not for you, there's a full money back guarantee. You call us, and without questions asked, we'll also collect it again and refund you. So, because we recognize many people will have not heard of REHIT before, and we make some very big promises, and we don't have showrooms all over the country. So therefore, this is something to give people the confidence that they can actually do this and try this and see for themselves.
And I know you have Olympic medalists to pro athletes, but you also have students to a number of people I've referred this to who still use it beyond the 100 days because they love it so much. They are 65 and older. They're seniors also as well, because it is safe.
If you just look at who's getting a Carol Bike, is generally around 40 to 65 or so. I think there's something around that age where the attitude towards exercise and working out changes. So where it's not about the looks primarily or the six-pack, but where you come to it with a clear intent that you want to do something for your health, for your physical, for your mental well-being. And then something like Carol that has great scientific proof and validation and offers all those benefits is the right answer.
I love it. I absolutely do. So how I use this on my Carol Bike is also to accelerate, not just for all the longevity benefits and obviously mood, the brain health. I also do it to accelerate my learning. Like I will do a session before I need to go deep into studying something, and it supports me there. Or I'll do it after to help with memory consolidation, right? The BDNF is helping in their neurogenesis. If it happens, it's happening in the hippocampus, which primary role is memory. So it's a wonderful way to accelerate your learning. And obviously when you're more focused, you're going to learn, you're primed to learn. Yeah. And you're in a great mood also as well. I don't think anyone's ever worked out and regretted that workout afterwards.
One thing it does for me is also it sets me up for a productive, motivated day. So I do it as part of my morning routine. almost first thing.
Because it takes like 5 minutes.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't want to say an easy win, because obviously I work hard for those 2 20-second sprints, but it is like an early win and a great start to the day because you've accomplished something already. And then you can try to carry that momentum forward. So I think it's also something quite motivational.
Yeah, there's this idea that if you want to win the day, you have to win that first hour of the day. Yeah. And this is an incredible way, it's kind of a no-brainer, to jumpstart your brain.
Exactly that.
So you could be more limitless throughout the day.
Exactly. You become alert and set your internal clock, your circadian rhythm to, okay, now it's day, it's bright. I have my bike set up, so in front of big windows, so I get like lots of light, and somehow I can open them. It really just starts my day off very well. And other way around, exercise has been shown to also improve sleep quality. So
that's huge.
People who exercise have higher sleep scores, have more deep sleep. It helps with establishing a more regular sleep pattern. For most people, it reduces the onset time, so how much time it takes to fall asleep. Yeah, exercise has so many benefits, and intense exercise specifically. And what we try to do, or what I think we've achieved, is just to bundle those benefits into a very, very efficient package and make it very accessible. Yeah. One thing for sleep, it's useful to not do this, like leave yourself something like 2 hours, maybe 2 to 4 hours before you go to bed. Otherwise, you'll like that alertness carries too far into the evening.
Right.
So it's better to do this early in the day, but even mid-afternoon, even late afternoon, depending on what your bedtime is, still works. But you should leave some gap before you're going to bed and end your day.
Right. You don't want to get your heart rate higher when you want to be able to transition that parasympathetic rest and digest.
Exactly that. Yes.
I want to thank you so much for the time, for coming here across the Atlantic to have this conversation, for sharing it with our community. I know certain people, because I know our community, they're going to go to the website and they're going to get their unit. And so I want to thank you for that. And those who are thinking about it, I want to thank you for doing that 100-day money-back guarantee, because some people that might have a little bit of doubt, whether they believe it's possible or they believe they're going to follow through, they could use it, test it for a few months. Exactly. And then I think their results will speak for themselves, right? And for me, I'm always looking for those small little things, like the Pareto principle, the 20% that gives you 80% of the rewards in life. And I'm obsessed about that. And so, when I came across your technology years ago, it was just a no-brainer. It's like my non-negotiable, because the stick rate to it is so incredible, because everybody could commit and get in that habit. And most people don't stick to something. They'll make a resolution, right? A New Year's resolution. And then the gym will be packed. And then a few weeks into it, there's no one there. But this is something I think if you're persistent, you could achieve it. A great body, a great reason. But if you're consistent, you get to keep it. Yeah. And everybody has 2 20-second, sessions that they could do for themselves. And this is also a form of self-respect, of self-love, because self-care is not selfish. Yeah. Right. And life is hard, I found, because of one of two reasons. Either you're leaving your comfort zone, or you're challenging yourself. Yeah, right? Of course. Or life is very difficult if you stay in your comfort zone. Right? You stay in your comfort zone, could be binge watching this and that. No judgment at all. But we can't be upset by the results we don't get from the work we don't do. And what I love about this, it requires very little work. It's not necessarily easy, but it's very simple and time effective. And, you stack those things in your life, you take one step in another direction and you end up in a completely different destination. So everybody, when they wake up, they have a chance because they can make a new choice. Are they going to go do that? And I just feel like this idea, which may be outdated, of running on a treadmill for 50 minutes, when you could get twice the results in 90% less time, which is, I have to admit, it's a big claim, but it's been my experience and the experience of so many of your clients.
Yes, yes. And we have really solid scientific, independent evidence and data and trials and peer-reviewed papers that back exactly that up. So the science behind it is unimpeachable, is very, very solid.
So if you want more information about your bike, go to carolbike.com/kwik, KWIK, to get your special discount for our community. And I want to thank you so much again for your time, for your talent, and allowing us to share something that I'm very passionate about and I use personally. I would never recommend anything. People know this. I just don't recommend anything unless it's something that I use personally, and I've referred so many family members and clients to also as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you, Kwik Brains, for watching this episode. I want to remind you that your body, like your brain, has this limitless potential, and with challenge comes change. But it requires that you nourish it, you challenge it. Just like with your brain, novelty, you get to give it the proper nutrition, the proper challenge, and it just grows. And we could redraw the borders and boundaries of what's possible. And I believe there's a version of yourself that's patiently waiting. And the goal is that we show up every single day until we're introduced. So make sure you like, you subscribe. Please share this episode with somebody that you care about. I read all the comments because I'm a very fast reader. I want to thank you for all your feedback. And when you subscribe, join us on YouTube. Join 1.8 million subscribers where we put the extended version. Again, the link, carolbike.com/kwik. And you can get the show notes at jimkwik.com/notes. Until our next episode, remember to be limitless.